Believe it or not, you guys have all been using your utility wrong. I mean, maybe not wrong, but a lot of you really need to start thinking outside the box. No matter what agent you're playing, their abilities have a lot more uses than you actually think. Like, what if I told you that Cypher has a flash? Well, today we're going to take a deeper dive into agents' abilities and we'll show you how you can use said utility in more ways than just one. So let's get started. Now, to make this concept a bit easier for you to understand, we're going to build off something King did for us on the website. He separated every ability in this game into 6 categories. There are flashes, smokes, area of effect, movement, recon, and tripwires. So we have 6 main trees here, each etched with their own utility. Some are more obvious than others, like Cypher's spy cam would fall into recon. But why did I use trees as an example? Well, if you were to uproot a forest, you would notice that all the tree's roots are intertwined with each other the farther down that you go. The thicker roots are more at the top, and they get thinner as you go down. So with the spy cam, yes, it's a recon ability, but you could also use it as a flash. The whole point of a flash is to force someone off of an angle, and it accomplishes the same thing by tricking them into moving their crosshair. So instead of flicking to dodge a flash, they're flicking trying to shoot my cam. Is it the best use for it? No, of course not. This is where the roots for this tree get thin, but it could still work. Let's say, for example, you're in a 1v1 and you need to flash your opponent. Well, what I've done in the past is throw my spy cam on a wall before I get ready to swing my opponent. This forces the enemy to look at my spy cam, shoot it, but when they flick back, I already swung them and they're dead. Here's a clip from one of my ranked games where this works really well. You're so stupid. I dubbed this in my friend group as the Cypher Flash. But don't get me wrong, this ability has embarrassed me sometimes as well. Sometimes people just don't respect the Cypher camera enough and just wait for me to swing. So as much as I would love it, a Cypher cam will never be as good as a real flash. But with this concept in mind, it's important that we delve into other abilities and really think about the other uses that they might have. And since we just talked about flashes, let's go down that tree. When someone mentions a flash, the first thing that they think about is throwing it out, swinging off it, and getting some kills. But like the Cypher cam we just talked about, there's more to it than that. With a flash, it could also be used as a recon ability. The whole point of something like Sova's recon dart is for it to get information for you. But with a flash, you sort of do the same thing. Let's say, for example, you're playing on Ascent, the attacking team has been quiet for a while, and you're playing on A and want some information as Phoenix. Well, if timed correctly, you could whip a flash in A main, peek briefly, and if no one's there, boom, that's information. If someone is there, you fight, get a kill, get out, and again, you have information. But this has its downsides as well. For example, if you do this, the enemy team knows relatively where you're at. In order to flash as Phoenix, you need to be close to the entrance of A main. So if the enemy team is about to execute through Catwalk, they'll know sort of where you're at. A flash could also do the same job as a smoke. Not as well, but again, this is where the roots get thin. The whole purpose of a smoke is for it to deny information or vision for the enemy team. Now, if your team wants to hit A without smokes, this might be pretty tough. But with a breach, one thing you could do is flash through the wall in A main so that anyone in tree is blind and then your team could run in. Again, this isn't perfect, but it could still work. Or a flash could work as an area effect ability as well. An AoE ability is designed to deny the enemy from accessing a certain area. So again, if you're playing Seaside on Haven, as like KO, you could right click some flashes and slow the enemy's execute down. This again though has its flaws, as the enemy team could turn them, use utilities so that you can't even be backside to right click to begin with, or you can get spammed as you're getting ready to toss them up. But in a pinch, these definitely can work. By the way, if you like what you're hearing so far, we have more creative breakdowns like this on our website. We discuss things like efficient pathing, timings, and other more advanced topics. All of these courses are made by Radiant level players and are directed by questions by you, the students, have. We also literally give you your money back if you don't rank up while using our service, so it's risk-free. So come check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. Now back to abilities. For our next tree, we're going to focus on area of effect abilities. The purpose of these are to deny access to a certain area of the map. Whether it's the entrance to a site, an important part of the map, or the spike itself, these abilities are pretty strong. The first thing that people think of when mentioning these abilities is using them to stop a rush or play lineups, but there's so much more than that. For example, on Bind, Viper's snake bites could be used to stop enemies from peeking out of B long. This would make the ability more offensive, and similar to a flash. Remember, flashes are supposed to get people off angles, and these AoE abilities are doing the same. This is where those roots intertwine. These mollies could also be used as smokes in a way. If placed in the right places, you could deny information to the enemy team the same way that a smoke would. If they swing into your ability, they get punished by taking damage, just like how it's dangerous to push a smoke. Again, it's not ideal, but this definitely can work. Another example I like to talk about would be the use of Sage's slow orbs. The first thing that comes to mind when Sage's kit is even mentioned is that she's really good at stopping pushes, but in reality, her orbs are also great for attacking as well. Want to take mid control on Haven? Slow double doors so that enemies can't swing out at you. Same thing goes for short on Haven, or A side or B side on Icebox. Using slow orbs like you would a Viper Molly are great ways to scale up sight. Next, let's talk about smokes. Everyone knows them, not a lot of people like to play them, but they're the most important role on any team. The whole reason why smokes are so important in this game is because they deny important information from the enemy team. It could be whether or not your team is out on site, if you're lurking, or in a bunch of different situations. But smokes might be the most versatile piece of utility in the game. Some smokes allow you to peek dangerous areas and get information like a recon ability would. It works as an AoE because people should be afraid of pushing smokes. Remember, AoE is meant to deny people from certain areas, and people do that all the time with smokes. But wait, there's more. Smokes could also be used as tripwires. Like I mentioned, people should be scared of pushing smokes, similar to how people would be scared of pushing into Killjoy utility. Take a look at this round from a match between Team Liquid and Fnatic. Team Liquid are spread out across the map just after Fnatic tried executing on a site, and their only opening was B. Dimasic, Team Liquid's Omen, recognizes what their weak spot is and throws a smoke on B. Because of the pressure that the singular smoke creates, it forces Fnatic to no longer contact their way in, but instead have to use utility which tells Team Liquid what's going on. They play a great retake and win this pivotal Thrifty round. All of this started from this one smoke that acted like a tripwire. And speaking of, tripwires are another vital piece of utility that without would make the game much harder. The main use for these abilities are to hold map control for your team. But again, these abilities also serve other purposes. This one might sound funny, but I've actually used Cypher's Tripwire to clear out angles. It was on Ascent, and I used it to clear out logs. I mean, the guy was like glowing and stuff, and we got the kill. But if you take Killjoy's turret, this is really valuable because it not only acts as a tripwire, but instead something that you can use to fight with. For example, by putting it in certain areas like a B main on Ascent, or scaling up A on Icebox, it would be used more as a recon or even a flash in some situations. You're trying to push people off the angle, but at the same time are gathering information. Or I've used Chamber's trademark before to help clear out B main. Its radius is big, and it'll make it awkward for any enemies trying to play in there. Now, let's talk about the movement abilities in this game. This tree's roots don't go down very far, but if you're creative enough, even these abilities have other niche uses. These abilities are meant for following up on other agents' abilities, capitalize on timings, and to make some pretty big plays. But if you're creative enough, even these abilities have other niche uses. For example, Raze's Blast Packs could be used similarly to an AoE effect by stalling a push. Quick fun fact, if you wait for the colored light on the satchels to turn green, they'll do 50 damage instead of chip damage. Or with Jett's Updraft and Dash, you could play some serious mind games with someone trying to defuse the spike. This same thing goes for Neon Slide or Yoru's Gate Crash. Or with her Updraft, you could perform an Updraft Jiggle Peek. No one expects this from a Jett, and it gets you good information. Or with Omen's Teleport, you could also take advantage of other angles that enemies wouldn't expect you in. Like for example on C-Long, you could teleport across the choke point, then jump spot to catch anyone holding C-Long off guard, and again, get good information. People just don't think outside the box enough when it comes to using these abilities. Some of these are going to be really useful in your ranked games. So now we've come full circle and have come back to the recon tree. As I mentioned before, you could use things like Sova's Recon Dart, Fade's Haunt, or Cypher's Spy Cam as a pseudo flash. By throwing a couple bounces and low power on the dart, you could make people stare at these abilities as you're swinging so that you get a free kill. But also keep in mind, things like the Haunt or Dart could be used as an AoE ability. By throwing these signatures in high, awkward angles, enemies are either going to get scanned while executing onto a site, or deterred from coming in until the ability runs out. And funny thing about this is that in the early days of Valorant, Sova's Recon was used as a movement ability. So hopefully you guys now have a better understanding of some extra uses you could use these abilities for. Just because a skill is advertised to be used in a certain way doesn't mean that it can't be used in others. Get creative. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. But before you go, keep in mind that this is all just one of many in-depth guides that we have on our website though. Also, if you want a chance at having your VOD reviewed, be sure to subscribe on our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries where we have Radiant players walking through exactly how to have the most impact possible in a bunch of different situations. It's also backed by our rank improvement guarantee, and the reason we do that is because you're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started in your way to that rank that you deserve. Alright, and that's all for us. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.